Well, hello there. I'm Romeo. In this video, I will teach you how to find the best workshop location in Bannerlord and discuss the factors that affect the income computation and also give a few tips to make that workshop more efficient and optimized. But first, let me show you how to buy a workshop. If you already know, I have put the timestamp at the description below so you can skip it anytime. Since the start, I have been walking towards the brewery, which is a workshop you can purchase. To find one, enter the town and hold the Alt key and it will display the workshop locations. Some cities have 3 workshops but only 1 or 2 are purchasable. I'm not sure yet if this is intended or they will fix the town scenery or later updates. So I have arrived at the location where you will find a shop worker, talk to him and you can see the option to buy, which usually costs around 13k to 15k. You also have the option to change what type of workshop you want to build. Don't worry, you can change it later anytime at the clan screen, which only costs 2000. Sometimes the shop workers are not in the workshop, such as in this clip, because I entered the town at night. So always enter during daytime, but sometimes they just bug out and spawn outside the workshop, which I commonly encounter on Imperial Town. So now let's discuss what are the factors that affect the workshop income. It's amazing how the developers apply the mechanics of supply and demand in the game. So the first information you will need to look for is the supply. What are the raw materials supplied to the city? You can check it if you hover at this hammer icon, which shows the existing workshop. In this city, it has ironmonger, vintner, and oil presser. As you can see, my town is supplied with grain and horses from the 2 villages. But this information is incomplete, so you need to have to check outside as well. The villages outside of the city, which is attached to the castle, also send the supplies to the nearest town. For example, this village of Eoria is attached to Varagos Castle, but it sends the supplies to the city of Saniopa. The same goes with the Varagos villager, which has sheep and wool. It sends it to my city as well. The villages to the north, Masangara, also sends the cow, cheese and butter, the same as with village of Atrion, which sends the cotton as well. So back to my town. The supplies that we have are 2 grain, wool, and cotton. As you can see, the price of grain is very low, while the price of beer is above average, maybe the second highest. So the best income generating workshop for the town of Saniopa is brewery. If it is not obvious, you should not buy a second brewery even if you have surplus of grains. You are probably asking why I don't have a brewery in my own town and think I'm a liar. Well, I had it as a brewery before, but I converted all the town workshops to solve the town food supply problem. But that is for another video I will create. If you are interested, you can just drop a comment below and subscribe so that I will create one faster. Now that you know how to identify good workshops for each city, let's move on to the tips for optimization and efficiency. Tip number 1. For now, don't bother with linen and wool weavery, wood workshop, and ironmonger, which all produces equipments. They were heavily nerfed the last couple of patches. That is the reason why the cotton and the wool is useless in my city, so I replaced them. And tip number 2, Stay away from frontline cities. If the village gets raided, you will not get raw materials. For example, my village of Krios is always raided when we are at war with the Northern Empire. Tip number 3. Do not buy a workshop in an adjacent faction because when they declare war, they will change the owner of that workshop and you will just lose all your investment. Tip number 4. Caravan traffic should be plenty because they are the ones buying the output product and keep it at a higher price. To increase the traffic, you have to change the other workshop you will not keep. This is probably one of the most unique tips I can share. For example, in my town, I have converted the two workshops and sell them immediately. I converted it to ironmonger and vintner, even though it has no supply of grapes, iron, and wood. This increases the caravan traffic in my town, where they sell grapes, iron, wood, and buy the surplus wool and cotton. That's all for the tips. So with those guidelines in mind, here are the towns that I tested profitable in my gameplay. Number 1 is the brewery at Sanayop, as I discussed extensively. Number 2 and 3 is Pottery at Lycaron and Pottery at Paikaon. In my save game, I am a vassal of the Southern Empire and I patrol the area. It is also centrally located and almost never raided, and it has a decent income, not the best, but I have it for security reasons. Number 4 on my list is the brewery at Zeonica because it has two villages that supply grains and it probably has the best income in my gameplay because the traffic is good even though I didn't manipulate the other workshop. Number 5 is the brewery in Poros because the three villages supply grains as secondary output. Number 6 is brewery in Rote because there are also two villages that supply grain. Number 7 and 8 is the brewery and pottery at Maronat because it has a supply of clay. It was the first of my workshops, but it became an enemy, so I had to sell it. Number 9 is Velvet Weavery at Maisea. As long as Melion Village is the same faction, because it will now supply 2 cotton to the village. I meant town. And lastly, number 10 is a pottery at Oxhall or Oxhall because it constantly gets supply of clay. It's just beside it. That's all I can share with you today. All of those towns I mentioned here, I have personally tested and was the owner of it at some point. As you may have noticed, most of it are centrally located because this is the areas where I frequent. If possible, if you find good workshop locations, please comment that below so me and other people will learn about it and we can try it for ourselves. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned about something from this video and don't forget to like, subscribe, and be awesome.